So, one of the most significant moments, times, periods of my life was actually when I was incarcerated and ended up going to what is considered a fire camp. Um, the overall experience was traumatic for reasons that have kind of nothing to do with prison. As far as prison goes, I can't even explain the level of individuality I demonstrated throughout my term, whatever you want to call it. Oh no, actually, I take that back. Sorry. I got sucked up into the race-based gangs on that particular stint. So let's just keep it real here, because at one point there was a very specific night in which there was a potential riot, and for the most part, in all of my, well, maybe one other, I don't know if it was related to this time because it was a county experience. So it might have been like a continuum on one term. But for the most part, my overall jailhouse experience from 1993 to the last one being 2018, September 2018, 26 days. I would say 60% of it, at least, possibly 80%, was what you would call you run your program, or identified as an individual non-gang or race affiliated, which, like, I'm tooting my own horn, but that's a feat. That's a phenomenal feat. I even went to YA and maintained that for the majority of the part. I got scared for a smidgen of maybe a month and a half, but I corrected myself at the threat of gang violence, retaliation against me, and I made it through. Well, I guess what else? That's the only way to say it. I mean, there's no magical way to look at it. In one sense, I got lucky, however you want to call it, but whatever the case may be, is I made decisions that jeopardized my life based on a system of values that I personally held higher in regard than my personal safety. I don't understand it. It's just what I did. So this particular period, I was shipped off to a place called Valley View Fire Camp. It was situated 4,500 feet. Oh, I'm sorry, at a peak 4,500 feet high elevation above sea level, that was cut off the mountain, and the camp was literally put smack dab on there. There was like 120 inmates, I would say. That could be wrong, but I'm assuming there's 120 inmates, because you got like 4 fire crews, possibly 5 fire crews. Each crew has, if I'm not mistaken, at least 16, possibly 18, plus a fire, like a guy that rode in the front. I don't know how many people sat in the back, I forgot. Plus you had the kitchen staff, you had the ground staff, and you had the mechanic staff in the shop. But apart from that, that was the whole facility. The staff ate the food of the inmates, so the food was on par with what you would consider at least Denny's level culinary experience routinely. So what else? So, okay, so unfortunately, I guess, I don't know, not unfortunately, I don't know how it really works out poetically. Man, that was one of the most mesmerizing periods of my life. Being there, someplace I would never, ever, 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 as an individual, ever be able to get to and stay for as long as I stayed and experience the environment as I experienced it. That 4,500 feet elevation above sea level in the Mendocino fucking forest, 90 miles north of Sacramento. So, living in the snow while it snowed. Wow, that is, whoa. But I mean, it's not universally, it's not unique or magic. But, obviously, that's, I think, kind of the point I'm making to you guys. It's how to create meaning from nothingness while still being able to accept the reality that absolutely it amounts to nothing. This is amazing shit. So, okay. So while there, because of the elevation and the isolation from civilization, the view of the sky was what I would consider from the rest of my life experience to be almighty and majestic. Like, I could watch it. I could fucking lay, not necessarily lay, but you guys get it, lounge outside, even in the snow, and just get lost in the sky, in the stars. Amazing, amazing. So, one of the beautiful experiences was, it was because of, I don't know how to explain it. It was just the clarity, literally. I seen satellites became very routine as my evening observations went. So I tried to, it was so frequent that I made a game out of it. That wherever I was looking up at, I mean, you see the sky. I mean, if you're looking up in the stars on your back or just straight up, and all you see is the sky, it's your total field of vision. You can break it up into 6 segments. I'm sorry, call me crazy. So I would make it a game to try to identify a satellite in each opposing segment for like a tic-tac-toe kind of thing. And I would just like lay there, and the catch is, the weird part about achieving or even pursuing this type of endeavor is that you have to not focus on anything, or else risk losing focus on a particular region that could potentially have the moving object that you're looking for. So out of all those times of scouring the sky and identifying satellites in my particular segments based on 6, I don't know what you call that, sextuple, I don't know. But there was only one time ever, ever that I watched in my field of vision relaxed. That's what I'm talking about. It was such an amazing experience. It's hard to really convey, because our life is accelerated at a rate where we focus on what's in front of us in order to deal with it as best we can. And some people, the sum of intelligence is being able to extend beyond that particular focal point. But in a relaxed state of vision, and vision is nothing more than a chemical process in the brain, really, and very much a figment of our imagination, which doesn't make it any less real, which is the irony that certain elements exploit in order to create a type of inferiority complex based on the idea of absolute uncertainty coming from nothing, which is absolutely true. So the oh shoot, I kind of got off track, but the amount of all of my personal experiences, they don't mean anything. They don't matter. They don't create matter in the sense that you need to understand them in order to navigate reality. You get that connection? Because you can't walk through walls, right? So you got to navigate reality based on what matters or what is matter. Same thing psychologically out of this fucking reality. I don't know how fucking this multi-dimensional shit works, or whatever you guys, the terminology today is. I just learned this shit. I stole this shit from other people. I've studied this information. And I've mutilated it as best I can in order to create my own narrative that seems in a ever proceeding linear type extension in time to be continually supported by ongoing developing information. At the same time, in reality, in the scheme of reality, to anybody other than me, it doesn't mean anything. Unless somebody has their own personal artistic capacity to create a meaning from nothing based on, dare I say, my vulnerability or expressiveness, maybe, I don't know, or fakeness, because I mean, this is all psychology is a projection, all behavior is a projection of psychology. So I'm definitely, yes, this, you have to understand, yes, I'm trying to, not only am I trying to project a image, social image, I'm trying to accurately define it, not masterfully market it. Okay? So, I think, okay. So, when I experience an event in my life that it is considered unique or specific, then my MO, modus operandi, my psychological impulse, my pathology, in order to compensate for my insecurity of not meaning anything in the world, has to come up with some kind of, oh, of course, that's what it means. Just to maintain a sense of equilibrium in a world that otherwise I feel I am meaningless and do not belong in. Okay? So, and all these, looking at the stars was just, like I said, I don't know how to explain it, because for me, it was otherworldly, because the anxieties that forged my intelligence, and my intelligence is effectively a desperate need to be aware of my surroundings so that I can do my best to fit in amongst them. Which is a very, I don't want to be, there are a lot worse ways to live, trust me, but it's not what we would equate to on a scale of average on life quality. So, but from that weirdness, I can create, I have to create meaning in order to survive. The mundane, futility, I don't know, insignificance of daily reality. This is daily reality. Even if there will be people throughout history that what in the future of what proceeds to become the documentation of the experience on earth preceding that period of time that is considered the present, because history is not even the right term anyways, but even is bigger than history. So whatever that amounts to, not even Jesus or Muhammad or the Buddha or Zarathustra, which most people might know as Zoroaster, or even Mitra, who I like, will amount to a smidgen of an influence, let alone an existence. But at the same time, for the people who have to live through this, having access to made up ideas about reality that are desperate attempts to cling to reality help them alleviate the pressures of clinging to reality. Because it's fucking hard work, bitch. Woo! Okay. And then we got to deal with each other on top of dealing with reality. That's another fucking level. But anyways, let's try to stay focused here. ADD, bitch. So, in that experience on that camp, the top of the mountain, with that sky and all those stars. That's what I mean. I don't even explain. Holy shit. Every night, all those stars. Oh, what? Oh my gosh. I claim, let's just keep it at that period only. So what was it, 2004? When did I get locked up? No, I got locked up 2002. I got out 2004. 19 months. I don't know, something like that. So I claim at that time that while gazing in the sky, I identified my own personal, for me, I didn't identify it as my symbol or anything. The only thing I could make up as a constellation in my imagination was a dragonfly. And it was pretty freaking basic. As far as proportion goes, it had a head star, a tail star, and the wing star, whatever you want to call it, the point where the wings connected was relative to the head star and the tail star to where the wings meet on a dragonfly, and then extending away from that central thing at a angular thing, so that you had what looked like the ends of two wings on each side that were pretty fucking insanely proportional to what we would consider the place of the ends of a dragonfly's wings to its, I don't know what that body part is, the body. So I was able to find that several times over the span of my, in different positions, over the span of my viewing the sky. And it was distinct because of those fabricated, made up, they're not real proportions. It's not a fucking dragonfly in the sky. It's just the memory of stars positions millions or billions of years ago. That's all it is. The proportions are fabricated. But I was able to use those proportions to at least claim to identify it at several other periods. I don't think I've ever identified it again. I've tried though, because there was a period of time where I was homeless and I stayed on the beach for like 6 or 8 months. And some of those nights too, I would, I was in a tent some nights. But other nights I would stay out of the tent for a long time and view the sky and scour it for this thing, and never saw it again. But anyways, so one of the cute moments of my life was when I saw a satellite cross, and it kind of looks like this.
That's what you call a satellite.
Miss Kitty told us about those.
So that is exactly what they look like. And there was only one time ever where I was gazing in the sky and it looks like this without that ground, because you're just looking straight up in the sky and all you see is stars. And I saw a star coming from this direction here. And I saw a star coming from this direction here. And they literally crossed, and I watched, crossed right in the middle. And I mean, they're not stars, I'm sorry, satellites. But it's all, we're as primitive as we are civilized. So let's take advantage of both. If you can interpret something in the most primitive interpretation, then you know what, consider that a skill. And if you could understand it in the most civilized comprehension, then you know what, consider that a skill. And if you could do both at the same time, then consider that a skill. All right? And if you can't, then that's all you can see. I guess that's all there is to it. So anyways, these two satellites, stars, in my perception of reality, even though scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson will accurately explain to me that they didn't ever really cross paths as far as reality goes. It was just the reflection of light from them that I perceived to be intersecting. But that moment mattered to me. That moment made me feel special. That moment made me feel like, oh my gosh, I've been looking at the sky for all of these nights, and wow, I got to see something that I bet billions upon billions upon billions of people that live on this planet will die and never see. But moving forward into the future with Elon Musk thing, maybe I'm going to be wrong and I'll just be a statistic. But it was magic to me. And anything can be magic to you.